Hello and welcome to this 18th session on this obstacle course game. And in this in this session we are now actually going to build some obstacles which will be rotating. So we want to create, we already have created walls and we have dropping obstacles, and we are now going to create an obstacle which will be rotating. So we are going to create some rotating object. So for this I will now come back to Unity here. And in Unity, I will stop the playback has been stopped, and now here what we are now going to do is we are going to add an obstacle which will keep rotating here. For this, let us select any one of the obstacles. Say for example, I select this obstacle 1, I will press Ctrl D to duplicate it, and I am going to press F2 and I am going to call this as spinner. So this will be spinning, and I will move it to the left like this, and I will come to top view so that I can place it in the right position. So I will place it somewhere here, and this for this what we can now do is let us decrease its y length. Let us see this. I will come to front view to see the y length of it. So along the y, let it be 1 only. I will keep along the y, I will keep it 0.5 along y, and then along z I will come to top view here. I will come to top view, and along the z axis I will reduce its thickness and I will make it a small around 0.2. I will set its z to 0.2, and x I will set it to around 3, so that we have this. I will press Alt left click and rotate and see this. So this is just a piece of obstacle which we want. I will just place it over the floor like this. Okay, if I move it to around 0.2, I think it will be resting exactly on the floor. Now for this obstacle, we want this obstacle to be rotating, so that when the player is moving, he is going to pass through this obstacle, avoiding that rotation. So for this now, I will select this spinner. If required, I will select this spinner, press F2, and I will call this as spinner 1. So we are going to use multiple spinners. Now I will clear this console, come to projects, and in asset script, I am going to create a new script for this spinner. So I will right click, choose create, and I am going to create a C# script, and I am going to call this as spinner. And in the spinner, actually if I double click it, this will now wait for the script to get compiled, and once it is compiled, I will open it in Visual Studio Code. Now what we want this spinner to do, you already have done it. It's you already have implemented this rotation. So I will come back here. Now I want this spinner. See, spinner is the game object. We are going to use its transform component, and we want it to rotate. Along which axis it should rotate? I think along the y axis. See, I want this to rotate along the y axis. So I will set this y axis back to 0. Now I will come back to the script, and in the script, this I have to apply this code in the update code block, because this has to be executed every frame. So I want it to rotate by a particular amount every frame. So for this, now in the update block, I am now going to call the component transform, and if you want to know what all methods are available in transform, what you can do is you can just open your you can open your browser and go to open Google and type here. We are going to search for Unity transform documentation. So if you type Unity transform documentation, you have transform scripting API. If I click on this, you have all the transform properties available. So in transform, you have lot of properties available. You have position, you have rotation, you have local scale. Apart from this, you have methods here. You have look at, you have rotate around. So we have already used rotate around, we have used rotate around, we used it in our solar system project. Rotate, we have used it in our planet AR project. So now again we are going to use rotate. If you can click on rotate, you can see what all parameters are required for this. For rotation, you need 3 parameters, x, y and z. So now what we are now going to do is, I will come back here and in transform I am going to call this method rotate. Since it is a method, the first letter will be capital R, and in parenthesis I have to put the x, y and z coordinates. Right now I will put it as 0, 0, 0, and I want the rotation to happen only along the y axis. So if I type 1 in y and I will end it with semicolon, I have typed 0, 1, 0. I will go to file and I will save this. Now I will come back here, and here when the script is executed, see, wait for the script to execute, and once it is executed, now first of all I will attach this rotate spinner script to my spinner 1. I have attached it, and now if I execute the game, see, you can see this is rotating. You can see the rotation happening. So if I come to the game view here, see, this is rotating, and when I am moving it, I have to see that without touching it, I have to move like this. So if I touch, see, it turns red. Okay. So we have implemented this rotation. Only thing is, this rotation is very fast. I want to control this speed. Now I want to give you a challenge. So stop the video, and here now this rotation that is happening through the y, I want this control to control the speed of this rotation. I want it to be controlled through the inspector. So what I want to is, in this script, instead of hard coding the value 1, I want you to declare a variable, make that variable available in the inspector, and through that we should be able to control the rotation. So stop this video and try to test it or do it on your own. Okay. Now I think you have done it. If you have not done it, I will just repeat it. So now what you have to do is, in public, after this mono behavior, I will press enter, and here I am now going to actually declare a variable, and the kind of variable I am now going to declare will be a vector 3 variable, because I want this to be a vector 3 component, and in this vector 3 component that I am going to declare now is rotate speed. I will give it the name as rotate speed, and I will end it with semicolon. So I have created a vector 3 component, and only thing is to make this available in our game, I am now going to add open close square brackets, and I am in between going to type serialize field, and after this I will add a space. So now this will be available in our inspector, and now here in rotate I am now going to call this vector 3 variable rotate speed, and only thing is, now to maintain its speed same, I am going to multiply it by, see, it gave you the prompt time dot delta time, so that on all the machine the rotation is at the same speed. Now adding this command, I will go to file and I will save this. Now I will come back to Unity, allow the script to get compiled. So once it is compiled, see, there any errors, there is no error, I will clear this. Now if I select the spinner 1, you have the rotate speed 3 values. Say for example in y, I set the value to 1, and now if I save this and if I execute the game, now you can see this will be rotating, and it is rotating at a very slow speed. Can you see? It is rotating at a very slow speed because now we have added time delta time. So now this is rotating, but it is rotating at a very slow speed. So now I will stop the playback and I will set this x value to something like 100. Now I will save this, and now if I execute the game, so now when I run the game, you can see this is rotating faster, and if the speed is too much, I can stop it and make this 50. I will make the y rotation value 50. I will save it, and now if I execute it, you can now see it is rotating at a little lower speed. So now we have created this obstacle spinner 1, and we can even place multiple spinners at different position to make the game tougher. So now as I am playing the game with arrow, I move back, I move front, I have to avoid these spinners. So when it is rotating, within it rotates, I have to cross it like this. So all this logic we can now apply it. But now the only thing is, this game that we have built is not a perfect game, because we are using physics, but we are transforming the movement using the transform component. And because of this, what happens is, sometimes when you go and bump into these obstacles, see now if you bump very fast, you can even pass through it. See like this. So you can see I can just pass through the obstacle, and this kind of bug, it exists. See, I can sometimes pass through it if I apply more force, and this is happening because we are not we have not applied the physics that is logic correctly. So instead of using transform for our movement, if we had used force, then this would have worked better. But those things we are going to implement it later, because your very first game should not make you think complicated. So we are going to keep this game simple. So although there are some bugs, I can just come and hit fast, and I can even move out of the wall like this. See? So these are some of the bugs we have. I will stop the playback. I will again play it. Although we have these bugs, we are going to implement the complete logic, and we are going to make this game better later on. But right now, just understand the logic. Okay. So there are some bugs in the game. We are going to rectify it in our later classes as we learn what is about force, how to apply force, and more about the physics. We will be implementing it. So right now we have added 3 different types of obstacle. One is the stationary obstacle like this wall and this obstacle 1. Then you have one obstacle dropping from the air, and another one a spinning obstacle. So with this, let us conclude this session, and we in our next session we are going to deal with prefabs. So let us meet in the next session. Thank you.